My name is Mike Breedlove. I'm the Restore Director. Volunteer, volunteer, and that's really cool to see. Volunteer. You made my day with that. Volunteer, and that's really cool to see. Volunteer. We have a volunteer manager, Katie Hollowell, currently. They can go to our website, which is chathamhabitat.org, and just there's an easy link there for volunteering. It's just literally at the top, volunteer. You click on that, it'll take you through it. We do orientations to tell you how things work, and then we get you up and going. And that's the same for construction as well. But store specific as far as things that can be done. There's always something to be done. There's registers that we need to be staffed. There's processing in the back room, all the items that come in. And if you hadn't gathered, we process a lot of stuff from the truck doing the pickups to people dropping off. There's always stuff to be processed in the back. There's people that kind of take ownership of particular areas. You know, maybe their passion is books, maybe their passion is art, maybe their passion is jewelry, maybe their passion is small motors. We've had a guy for several years that comes in and, you know, weed eaters, chainsaws, generators, lawnmowers. He was a whiz with those things, so he would come in and you'd have a generator that wasn't functional, so maybe it was going to end up being sold for parts or maybe scrapped for metal. He spends a little bit of time with it. Now all of a sudden you have a functional generator. That's going to bring a lot more revenue in to go towards building those houses. So if you have a particular area of expertise or interest, definitely let that be known so we can, you know, use that to the best of your abilities. It's really simple though. Construction, there's more restrictions than the restore because, you know, there's rules about using power tools and things like that. But as far as restore specific, there's not really an age restriction. And I'll tell you why. I've thought about that a lot over the years. I've had a 10-year-old that came in and she was a whiz on the cash register. She could run it just as good as I could. And she was so short, we had to put a crate out there for her to stand on. But she was great, even alone. She didn't even need help. But then there might be, you know, a 16-year-old that may not be sufficient on their own, so they would need to be partnered with somebody. So I'll tell you the nice generic answer we kind of have in our system for Volunteer Hub is the age 14. But if you have a youth that's under 14 and you're a parent that is going to accompany them and be with them, or if we gauge their ability and it's beyond, you know, the normal capacity, we've taken all ages. There's so many benefits to it. It gives them people skills, it gives them life skills, it builds their confidence, it gives them a work drive and self-sufficiency, motivation. There's so many things that come along with that, which I find to be less and less common these days. And that's not me being the old man on my soapbox, but I have seen a difference in work ethic. So it's great to see parents getting their kids out there and doing this, and even just as something to do together as a family. It's just, there's benefit after benefit. So I encourage it. We've got a great group here, and most folks have been here for long periods of time. I've been here going on 15 years. Lacey's been here going on 15 years. We started basically the same time. Steve's been here for several years. Amber's been here for several years. I mean, I've got part-time folks that have been here for 12, 13 years. Like my first hires. And that tells you something because like Lacey, for example, he retired from UNC after 32 years of being there. He's got a great retirement, all that stuff. He's not here because he has to be. He does not need the check that he gets. He's here because he wants to be. And we have a lot of fun. We get our work done, and it can be a lot of work, but we have a great time doing it. And I remember all the way back to when I was 15 working at the grocery store with a work permit, and your bosses tell you these stories about how we're like a family here. It's a work family. And in my experience in my life, that was never the truth. But I will say that it is that way here. And I feel like if you were to ask any of the Restore employees, and that even extends into the other areas, resource development, family services, construction, it really is a work family here. We look out for each other, we get each other's back. You know about their family lives, you know, you celebrate with them, you grieve with them. That's just what we do. And again, if that weren't the circumstances, I don't think I could have been here for the amount of time that I've been here. I'd be finding something else. One thing I like to do is I like to make like scouting trips and go to other restores all around, because you never know what you're going to bring back. Some of what you're going to bring back is just affirmation to say like, wow, we're really doing a good job with this or this. But you find other ideas. Those rugs that we have, that was the result of a trip out to the western part of the state, and they were getting those rugs. So those rugs are purchased. Almost everything you see in the stores are donated, but we can do purchase product, a percentage. And so we purchase those. They come to us from a company in California, and they sell like hotcakes. We've been selling them for years now. I thought that it would have slowed, we would have saturated the market, but they just keep flying out. And it's because they're such a great price. You can't beat it. And if you buy one and it lasts for a few years, and then somebody gets clumsy and spills something, you're not going to break the bank by coming back and getting another one. So that's been a really good find that we discovered several years ago. I need to find some more of those. Well, people will call and they'll say, do you have this? And you say, well, we don't right now, if you don't have it. And they say, well, when do you think you might get one? No clue. It's anybody's guess. And what's hilarious is, you know, a lift chair. A lot of people call for lift chairs, you know, elderly folks or people that are having surgeries. I might not see one for 3 months, and then we might get 10 in a week. There's no rhyme or reason. You just never know. And as far as the things that come in, every time you think you've seen it all, you haven't. Something else comes in. And honestly, Google image search has become a big thing that we use, because sometimes you don't even know what it is. You search it and find out, and you're like, oh, that's what that is. I always tell people, if you think long, you think wrong. You better get it while you can. So the stores are open Monday through Friday from 10 to 5, and on Saturdays from 9 to 4. And if you're going to bring donations, we ask that you do that within those time frames. And the reason why is because we have to make sure that it's items that we can accept. And also, if they're left unattended, bad things could happen. And that could be even just from weather. Even though it's a covered up shelter, rain blows in, and sometimes we lose good donations because they got damaged. And sometimes they disappear. But we do have Ring cameras now, so I can monitor that. Sometimes there's that perception that we don't want habitat houses in our neighborhood. They're going to bring the value down. They're going to bring riffraff in, and it's not going to be good. Trust me when I tell you, 8 habitat houses, they're not going to bring you down. They're going to bring you up, because they're going to be nicer than anything else in there. Our construction team has really just pushed the envelope. The quality, I mean, they were nice when I came, but with the group that Harvey's been leading, you know, the amount of time he's been here, they have really just pushed it. I mean, they are as energy efficient as it gets. They're well built, nice houses. There's a surprising number of people that do qualify that don't even apply because they don't think they would. I'm not loaded. I work for a nonprofit. My wife's in education. We're not getting rich fast. But having said that, it really puts things into perspective because my wife, she was teaching at JS Waters, and then we already had our oldest was attending JS Waters when we moved out there. And so we went to one of the PTA meetings. And so they're throwing these numbers and statistics at you. And I don't know what it is currently, but at least at that time, JS Waters was like 85% free or reduced lunch. And if you're on free or reduced lunch, that means odds are you'd probably qualify for a Habitat house. And they just have no idea. They don't apply because they don't think that it's something that they can actually do. So that's something that I always try to tell people, like, if you know anybody you think might, like, what's the worst that happens? You fill it out and they say, no, you make too much, or no, you aren't able to take this bill on right now, but let's work on some things and get you there. Like, you never know until you try. Like, there's a lot of people that think the houses are free. And I mean, that'd be nice, but that's not a sustainable business model. So, I mean, the way it works is basically, once the houses are built, everything's done, partner family gets their keys, and then they've got their mortgage. So again, some people think it's free. It's not, but it's a 0% interest. And it's gonna be, like, the total cost is gonna be lower because of the volunteer help and things like that. So all those mortgages that come in, like, you know, we're to a point now where we're starting to see some houses get paid off because this affiliate's been around since '89, and that's really cool to see. But, you know, all that mortgage money comes in, and that's going into the operational funds. And then the stores, we make enough money in a fiscal year, give or take, to build 2 to 3 houses. So that's going into the funds. There's some help, you know, from the government, you know, things that we can apply for and get. There's less of that these days, but that still happens. And then there's just, you know, some people that just donate, they give. We've even got a fair amount of employees that we've got it set up where it just automatically comes out of our check. It's not like a life-changing amount, you know, but it's something. Another cool piece is the fact that our focus isn't just on building houses, it's on building communities. If you tour around Chatham in the areas that we are currently building and have been building in, it's multiple houses in a neighborhood. So you've got, you know, families that can support each other. The kids are playing out on the streets and they're on their bikes and playing basketball in the cul-de-sac. And so to me, that's even a little bit more special. And I've been here long enough to see kids grow up and go to college and go out and get really great jobs. And that may not have happened if they didn't have a safe roof over their head. So that's really cool too. Probably the biggest misconception that is out there, that Jimmy Carter started the Habitat for Humanity. I told you, I think that he was like the first celebrity endorsement. Jimmy Carter to Habitat is Michael Jordan to Nike. Yeah, he's brought it a long way and done a lot of good for it, but did not create it. That credit cannot go to Jimmy Carter. Millard Fuller and his wife. But it really kind of started out as just building a community more than it was going out and building homes like we do now. It was more like a community movement, you know. We've got this land and we're going to fill it up with families, especially those that may be in need, kind of deal. And you can research it and find out all kinds of things, but yeah, who would have known that a small idea from a married couple would turn into what it has become today? It's global. Yeah, it's Habitat International is actually the group. There's we do a lot with Habitat in Honduras. Affiliates tithe, and they go towards certain things, and you can specify. So yeah, Habitat builds all over. Of course, it's going to be heavier in certain areas, but yeah, they do a lot of good work globally, and it's needed big time. If everybody had more of that type of mentality, how much better would we be? You know.